A lot of people think that you need a CS degree or you need to go to a coding bootcamp to learn how to code, but you don't. In this video, I want to share how I hacked my CS education and got a job as a software engineer 7 months after studying. I want to go over the resources that I used, the timeline, and some of the thought process that I went through in making this decision. And hopefully some of the things I share can also benefit you. Let's take a look. First thing I want to mention is I quit my job to study full-time. I don't recommend this for everyone. It worked for me. It was really stressful, but it might not work for you, so I don't recommend it unless it happens to be the best situation. You can totally learn how to code while working a different job at the same time, so I wouldn't recommend my approach. Why didn't I want a CS degree? Well, I already have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree. I don't really think I need another degree. In fact, I don't really want any more student loan debt, so that was a big factor. But ultimately, I just didn't think I needed it. I thought I could learn enough that I needed to learn to get a job in a short enough amount of time to make it work. Why didn't I do a boot camp? Well, I seriously did consider doing a boot camp. I had some friends who had gone to boot camps and got jobs, and they did well through that. And so I was looking at them, I started researching them, but a similar thing with cost was a big issue, and also time. Trying to find the next cohort that I could join within the time frame that I had quit my job and really needed to get a new job was a big issue. And so that's ultimately why I didn't do it. And I just didn't think I needed it. I thought there was enough stuff on the internet, there was enough resources that I could get my hands on to learn and get a job. Let's talk about timeline and schedule. Basically, you can see from January to March, I was working my previous job before I became a software engineer, and I was working in a nonprofit. And then the start of April 1st was my last day. That's the day that I was studying full time. And you can see from April on, I'm studying full time. On this chart through May to June, you can see the content that I was studying. You can see ultimately when I had my first offer and then a second offer. This was the timeline of studying. Money was really tight and I started driving Lyft, and so my study hours changed. What was my study schedule like? Basically, after my last day of work, I got up early and started the day studying. I would study from 8 in the morning or 9 in the morning till dinner time, and then help put my kids to bed, spend some time with my wife, and then study for a few more hours to go to bed to start all over again. And I did this Monday through Saturday, and then I took Sundays off. So I did intentionally plan rest into this schedule because I knew I was gonna need it so that I didn't burn out or freak out. And a lot of people have talked about this. A lot of studies have shown that sleep is actually really important when you're learning a new topic. I did try to prioritize sleep as much as I could, but also prioritize learning really fast. I really tried to learn these courses and the content as quickly as possible. Well, what resources did I use? What things did I buy and invest in to help me learn how to code? Really, the bulk of my CS education cost me $40. And it was from this learning platform that I had never heard of called Udemy. People pronounce it differently. I hear it all kinds of ways, but I think it's pronounced Udemy. A friend of mine had told me about Udemy and told me about this course that was really popular and had a ton of students and a ton of reviews and feedback, and I checked it out and there was like a coupon going and it was only $10, and I did that basically in March. So I started, if we look at the schedule chart again, I started studying in March. I started this before my last day at my old job. So I had kind of done a few weeks of it to get my feet wet. And so I'd recommend that if you're interested in coding and if you are considering learning how to code on your own in this kind of self-taught way, that you would try a course like this. And there's a lot of free stuff on YouTube as well, but you could try one of the courses that I list. Try the course out. Set up your computer, set up a coding environment, try to make an app or two and see if you enjoy it. See if you like smashing your head against the wall over and over again because there's a missing period or colon or semicolon or some other crazy typo that happens all the time in programming. So I'd encourage you to do that. But what courses did I use? What are the courses that I bought that helped me learn how to code? Here they are. The first one was by Colt Steele, and it's called the Web Developer Bootcamp. Colt is a really great teacher. He helps teach you in fun ways that are lighthearted, that help you swallow the pill of coding with a spoonful of sugar. So I would definitely recommend him as an instructor. I think he also has a YouTube channel now, so I would definitely check that as well. So I started with that, and that was kind of like the gateway into coding. The next few I actually found after doing some research. So I decided I was going to learn on my own, and I had done Colt's course, and I started researching what should I take after Colt's course. And I found some random, I don't know if it was a Reddit comment or something, but someone had said, you should learn this one course. And so I went to that course. It didn't look like amazing. It didn't look like it had a crazy amount of reviews like Colt's course did. But I took that person's word for it. I read some of the reviews. It looked really promising. And so I took it. And I will say that this second one I took, called Get a Web Developer Job, Mastering the Modern Workflow, actually was probably the single most important course that got me my first job offer. It taught me how to take a picture, or a mock, as we call them in the industry, and turn it into code. I still use it today. It's a great skill that I've learned as a full stack engineer. It's more on the front end side of things, but it really paid off. And I think I also got that for $10, which is just crazy. The next two courses I took were one on JavaScript, because once I was taking the Get a Web Developer Job, I realized the JavaScript part was a little confusing to me, and I didn't really know JavaScript very well. So I picked a course from a popular YouTuber who sells his courses on Udemy, and I got his Modern JavaScript from the Beginning course. And that was really good. So I would recommend that to you. I think he updates it regularly, and I'll put a link in the description as well. And then from talking to another friend and more research, I realized that React was super popular and a lot of potential to get a job and to be a good technology to learn to be a full stack software engineer. So I found a course called the Complete React Web Developer course with Redux, and went through that course and learned a ton about React. So those were the four main courses, the four resources that I purchased for $40 that I finished in about, I think, 2 months, that taught me the bulk of my initial coding and studying. Now, for the rest of the timeline, what did I do for the rest of those months? Well, I started networking. I started going to events that were related to coding, learning, different things like that. I started applying to a bunch of different jobs on LinkedIn, which was virtually useless. I started talking to friends and asking anyone if they had any connections at their work. I did all kinds of things really to try to get a job, because I knew enough coding where I was like, okay, I can kind of figure some things out. I think I can get a job. So I was doing that. And also around that time, I started running out of money. So I started driving Lyft a good amount of hours a day. So I wasn't studying as much or building projects as much as I would have liked to have been. By September and October, it was getting kind of discouraging. So I had kind of been doing a hustle for 3 or 4 months, applying to as many jobs as I could, pretty much all rejections on LinkedIn applications, or not even a response at all. Then I found a job posting of a startup in the area, and I got a job interview around Thanksgiving. And that I had a phone screen on that one, and then they brought me on site, and then they gave me a job offer, and that was my first job offer. And that was an amazing experience. Getting that first job offer was just such a big relief. And then I went on to continue to interview with other companies, especially one other one that ended up giving me another offer as well. But I ended up going with the startup. Worked there for a number of years and had a really great experience. So some final thoughts. This process was hard. And I mean, it was really hard. It was stressful. It was stressful for my wife and I to be running out of money, to be living in San Francisco, at the time, the most expensive city in the world. Learning on your own, quitting your job, learning to code on your own with a family to support is not for the faint of heart. So that's why I would recommend, if you want to do this, do it on the side, do it on nights and weekends, and have a better cutoff, because the way I did it was a little bit stressful, a little bit more stressful than I think it needed to be. But this was what I ended up doing. It might not work for you, it might not be the right approach for you, but this path, this way of learning worked for me, and I ended up having a success story and getting a job. This experience in general was incredibly worth it, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. And so I would recommend it if you're interested to try it, to pick a course, to try to learn. Put comments in this video if you want to learn something related to code, and maybe I'll create a video about it. Just get yourself out there, talk to people about it, consider it. Maybe it will change your life like it did mine. Thanks for watching.